Hello and welcome back. We're trying something new today. Let me know what you think about the new camera with the background. Currently I have a software doing this, but if you guys like this, I'll actually buy the green screen for the background and make it look a little better. Let me know your thoughts. Anyway, today we have Kurzgesagt that we're reacting to. We're going to be watching The Last Human, a glimpse into the far future. There will be a last human. I wonder if they'll know that they're the last human. Probably not. But let's see what's going on.
The future of humanity seems insecure. Rapid climate change, political division, our greed and failings make it hard to look at our species with a lot of optimism, and so many people think our end is in sight. But humans have always thought they lived in the end times. Every generation assumes they're important enough to witness the apocalypse, and then life just goes on.
Please happen with my generation too. Please let us be wrong.
This is a problem because it leads to short-term thinking and prevents us from creating the best world for ourselves and our descendants. What makes this worse is that we may actually be living at an extremely critical moment in human history. To understand why, let's look at the temporal window of humanity and ask, when will the last human be born? And how many people will there ever be?
It's a good question. I really love the fact that they brought up the short-term thinking, because that's something that we're super guilty of for many different reasons. Is we think in the short term as a species, as countries. We don't think in the long term. We're not thinking about 500-600 years from now. We're thinking about the next election cycle. That's what we're thinking of. We're thinking about our next payday. We really got to do better, guys. There's no excuse as to why we can't do better. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh.
These sorts of estimates come with a lot of uncertainties, so please take them with a gigantic grain of salt. To get a sense of how many people there will be, let's see how many people have already lived.
Well, we can't possibly know the answer to this. Obviously, we take it with a huge grain of salt. We're making a lot of assumptions here.
Modern humans arose some 200,000 years ago. They were uniquely good at making tools, telling stories, thinking abstractly, planning and working together in large groups beyond their close family. Still, there were not that many of us. Surpluses of food were scarce, survival was hard, life expectancy was low. It took us 150,000 years to grow to a population of 2 million. Improvements were gradual and eventually led to the agricultural revolution.
Wait, so in the last 50,000 years, we've went from 2 million humans to, what is it, like 8 billion now? What? That's insane.
Arguably the biggest change in our history. This was when our numbers really started growing. It took 10,000 more years to get to 300 million. But that increase was dwarfed by the Industrial Revolution. In 1800, there were 1 billion of us.
Jeez.
The human population doubled in just 120 years, and then again in 50. Today, we number around 8 billion. In total, over the last 200,000 years, about 117 billion humans were born and lived, and 109 billion also died. Which means that about 7% of all humans that ever lived are alive right now.
Wow.
As many as were born in the first 150,000 years of human history.
That's
Every
insane.
minute, 270 babies join the party. But there aren't just more people. Never before have we been as healthy and well off or lived longer. With growing living standards, our birth rates collapsed. The UN estimates that around the year 2100, we will hit our population peak and there will be 125 million people born each year. It's pretty unlikely that birth rates will stay stable forever, but let's pretend to make our thought experiment simpler.
Yeah.
How many people there will be in the future depends on when our species will die out.
This is really good
And
art
here,
style.
we find a lot of uncertainties. We are able to destroy ourselves through our own inventions, but we are also able to find solutions to avert catastrophic risk.
Yep.
We can change the direction of planet-killer asteroids, but we've also invented nuclear weapons.
The big thing about humanity is we have the potential. That's the key word, potential, to become something much greater than we are. But the thing is, we hold ourselves back with short-term thinking and greed. Those are our biggest setbacks as a species. If we can get out of the mindset of thinking in the short term, thinking generationally even, we need to be thinking long, distant future. It just has to happen for us to take it up a notch to that next level. There's no reason today that we can't make life basically a paradise for every one of us. There's no reason. There shouldn't be hunger. There shouldn't be homelessness. There is no legitimate reason for any of that. Now, it's easier said than done because through evolution, we've had to adapt to be aggressive in order to rise to the top of our food chain. If we didn't have that trait to be aggressive and competitive, we wouldn't be the dominant species on the planet. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. We have to get over that now. We don't need to be aggressive and competitive with each other. There's no benefit to that whatsoever. I mean, maybe on small scales it drives innovation, but on the large scale as a species, it's just holding us back. We got to set the greed aside. We got to set the aggressiveness aside, and then we can do some really crazy things. Look at what we've accomplished now. We can do better. And what we've accomplished is already pretty amazing.
We discovered antibiotics, but also carry diseases across the globe in a matter of days. Our industrial system gives us an incredible standard of living, but also changed the atmosphere in the process. It's very hard to say if human ingenuity will prolong or shorten our species' lifespan. If things go badly, our end could come suddenly. But if we manage to avoid that, we could conceivably stick around for a long time. So every day we don't destroy ourselves may mean life for an unfathomable number of humans. How many people are we talking about? It depends on how far our species is going to expand. Scenario 1. Humans will never leave Earth. If we stay on our home planet, a good metric to look at is the extinction rate of animals that we get from the fossil record.
And for the record, I think that there's a pretty high likelihood that we never colonize anything other than Earth. I'm super excited at the prospect of colonizing the Moon, Mars, Venus, whatever. But I don't think that we'll ever have permanent colonies. We might have scientific outposts similar to what we do on the International Space Station. That's a handful of people living there for science. But will we ever have self-sustaining populations outside of Earth? It's hard to tell what the future's going to bring, but at least in the immediate term, going back to the short-term thinking, I don't know. It seems pretty unlikely that that's going to happen in the next 100 years.
The average lifespan of mammalian species is in the region of 1 million years, with some surviving up to 10 million years. Our close relative Homo erectus survived for about 1.9 million years.
Nice!
Let's be conservative and assume that humans will survive for 1 million years, which leaves us 800,000 more years to dawdle away.
And look what we've done already.
Assuming a stable birth rate of 125 million people each year, this means there are roughly 100 trillion humans waiting to be born.
Wow.
850 times greater than the number of people that have ever lived. This would make everybody alive today only 0.008% of all people that will ever live.
That's crazy.
Think about where this leaves you. Instead of putting you at the end of the chaotic mess that was our past, it would mean you live at the very beginning of something big. The start of the human story rather than the end. Doesn't this feel incredibly different?
Yes, it does.
And now, consider that this may be an extremely pessimistic estimate. If we match the survival time of the most successful mammals, then our future numbers rise to 1.2 quadrillion people that have yet to be born.
The thing that we have to also consider, though, when we're looking at averages for mammalian species survival, no other mammalian species has the capacity to utterly destroy not only themselves, but their environment. No other species can do that. We can. And all it takes is one of us. It has to be certain ones of us, but that's all it takes. And goodbye, environment. Also, 1.2 quadrillion. At least we'll have enough IPv6 addresses for all of them. Oh God, I'm such a nerd.
And even this seems far from our potential. As the sun slowly gets hotter and brighter, Earth will remain habitable for about 500 million years, giving so many more potential people the chance to become actual people.
And that's if we don't even leave the planet.
And now, let's begin to think big. Scenario 2, humans will leave Earth. We went from humans
It's the
worshipping the
Minecraft
moon
universe.
to humans walking on it, so who knows how much further we can go. If we don't die out within the next few hundred years, ideas that seem outlandish right now become serious considerations. If we believe that we have a chance of surviving for maybe millions of years, then we could expand onto the other planets or into our own artificial worlds.
That's a really good point. Technology is crazy. I mean, just in the last 100 years, heck, the last 50 years. Think of what we have now compared to 100 years ago. It's straight up magic. It's magic. Absolutely. They would call it witchcraft and burn us. It's ridiculous. I mean, the other day I had a conversation with someone on the phone many miles away from me through an earbud in my ear. So hands-free, doesn't look like I'm doing anything. Witchcraft.
Life needs three things: a surface, resources, and energy. Our sun provides energy for billions of years, and there is so much water and material floating in the asteroid and Kuiper belt that we could sustain many times our current population. Instead of living on planets, we could decide to construct our own artificial worlds and habitats. With resources and energy so abundant, we could try out different types of society and ways of life.
That'd be cool.
An interconnected civilization spanning the solar system would create the basis of existence for an absurd number of individuals, orders of magnitude more than if we stick to Earth, even if we only existed for a few million years. This future doesn't have to be grim and dark as science fiction likes to paint it. With quadrillions of people waiting to be born, we will have billions of doctors working on curing cancer, billions of problem solvers working on ending poverty, and billions of video game developers making life fun.
Yes!
More humans may actually mean more progress. Another upside of leaving Earth and spreading out is that it becomes much harder for us to become extinct, as you need a solar system-wide catastrophe to catch everybody.
The point that I think humanity guarantees its long-term goal, when we are on more than one planet, when we do have an actual self-sustaining population off of Earth, that's at the point that we can guarantee we have a deep future. Deep future? Yeah, a deep future. Let's run with it, whatever. Because right now, there's a number of things that could cause our extinction. Could be crazy large meteor, potentially supervolcanoes, us with nukes, us with virus, us with rogue AI. I mean, that's a lot of things just off the top of my head that could absolutely eradicate humanity. All because we're just right here. But if we have more than one self-sustaining population that's diverse in their location to the point where there is a great separation, so off planet, and it has to be self-sufficient, then it becomes a lot harder for us to go extinct. It might be possible to wipe a planet or a population, but the chances of something happening within close proximity to wipe out both, it's not going to happen.
So aside from nearby supernovae or gamma-ray bursts, humanity would be relatively safe from extinction, maybe for billions of years. If we manage to survive for that long, slow evolution or genetic engineering might split us into multiple species, or we might intentionally keep ourselves the same as we are now. So to account for that, we'll just talk about people from now on, instead of humans.
Yeah.
Okay, Now let's think really big. Scenario 3, people leave the solar system. As enormous as the solar system is, it is just one star system among billions in the Milky Way. If future people can colonize, say, 100 billion stars and live there for 10 billion years, with each generating 100 million births per year, then we can expect something like 100 octillion lives to be lived in the future.
That is
This
a big
is a
number.
1 with 29 zeros. 100,000 trillion. We can spin this up as much as we like. The Andromeda Galaxy will merge with the Milky Way, adding another trillion stars for us to settle. Red dwarfs stay active for up to 1 trillion years, and future civilizations might even find energy for their habitats around black holes. A sufficiently advanced civilization of our descendants might even try to reach other galaxy groups. While these numbers are mind-blowing, they may underestimate the number of unborn people by many orders of magnitude.
It goes back to the word that I said is very important in our description. Potential. If we can get over our flaws, which honestly in the next 1,000 years or so, I think that we'll either do that or erase ourselves. I truly do believe that. The 1,000 years is pretty arbitrary, but I think it's reasonable to say that.
If we divide the total energy available in a galaxy by the average energy needs of a single person, then we get 1 trillion potential lives.
Never heard that number.
Trillion potential people. Conclusion. Hopefully, what's become evident is that if we don't kill ourselves in the next few centuries or millennia, almost all humans that will ever exist will live in the future. Which brings us back to us in the present. We exist at a high point in human history, with incredible possibilities at our grasp: technological, environmental, and societal. What we do matters for all the people who do not exist yet. So while it's not en vogue to think about humanity's long-term future with optimism, or to think about it at all, maybe this has given you a bit of perspective.
Every unborn human relies on what we do today. Yes, absolutely. The future depends on us. And every generation can say the same. And if you want to kind of flip the coin a little bit and turn it on its head, you could also say that in our history, there's never been a better time to be a human, to be alive. We don't know what the future looks like. We can make educated guesses, but we can say for certainty that with modern medicine's the big one, and technology, there's never been a better time. A lot of us, I don't want to say all of us, but many of us enjoy lives that kings 1,000 years ago wish they could have. So yeah, it's good. It's good to be alive.
If we screw up the present, so many people may never come to exist. Quadrillions of unborn humans are at our mercy. Even if we go with fairly conservative estimates, the unborn are by far the largest group of people and the most disenfranchised. Somebody who might be born in 1,000 or even 1,000,000 years deeply depends on us today for their existence. This is why it's important to think about the distant future and why our presence is so crucial, why it matters what we do today. One day, the last human will be born. We don't know when. But if we change our perspective from us living at the end of the human story to us living at the very beginning, we can not only build a wonderful world for us and for them, but also for countless numbers of others. Huge announcement.
Wow. The future of humanity depends on you, and you alone. Do your best. This was a great video. It really puts things into perspective. And it shows, once again, the potential that we have as a species. We have an insane amount of potential. And we just have to seize it. And I think that we'll make that decision in the very near future on whether we're going to devolve into chaos and not be worth growing into those crazy civilizations, or if we're going to take that leap and actually do it. I also think that it's probably very likely that the last human is not yet born. Even if things go very sideways and we do really bad things here on Earth, I really don't think that the last human's been born yet. We're pretty resilient. There'll be at least a couple of us that squeeze through. And if humans are good at anything, we are good at enduring, and we're good at starting over and living where we shouldn't. Anyway, let me know what you think about this new format. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it or not. Mostly going to base on what you guys think. So let me know. Any feedback is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate it, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.